welcome to a special interview for VIT Today. We have with us today a renowned actor, producer, screenwriter, and an entrepreneur, Mr. Arjun Rampal. He's won multiple awards and prized widely acclaimed roles across the board for the past 2 decades. And we're glad that you're interacting with us today about your journey as an artist.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, so I'll be starting asking you. So starting off on a light note, you grew up on a multicultural environment in the sense that you celebrated multiple festivals like Eid, Diwali, Christmas, and so on. So how important and helpful was that liberal and inclusive background to your career as an artist?
I think it's extremely important, right? You have to be completely open-minded not just if you want to be an artist. I think just if you want to grow as an individual in any profession. Refrain from change, or if you do not want to embrace different cultures and, different mindsets of people, you are going to end up not being a very happy person, is what I believe. You're going to end up being very, very caught up in yourself. You're going to only believe whatever you say is right. You're not going to change. And if you cannot change your ways, because everything changes in life, and if you cannot change and adapt to different situations, then you really are making your playground of life very, very short. And you're going to have a very myopic kind of vision towards things. And that's going to be extremely unfortunate for you, because it will definitely tamper with your own growth. You've seen during times like this, like a pandemic, any person who's not being able to adapt is a person who's going to have, who's having serious issues. With life. And we need to, I think one of the most important things to succeed is to have a very broad-minded approach towards many things. Because by having a broad-minded approach to things, all you're doing is opening yourself up to knowledge, to a point of view, to a discussion, to and then you can make your own choices after that.
Right, sir. Also, sir, you graduated economics from Hindu, and more often actors have this thing that they don't really complete their education, or they drop out of the university thinking that educational background isn't very relevant to their work. So what's your outlook on this?
I would have backed out also if my parents had allowed me, but they weren't having that, so I had to complete my education, and I'm glad I did, because I think university and college times are definitely one of my fondest memories. School, college, friends that you make there, you have a very, very unique bond with them, a very strong bond with them. And you should maintain those bonds. I tell all of you, all are young students, you should definitely stay in touch with each other. Don't make sure that a pandemic is going to bring you all together, which is the case that happened with a lot of us friends. And because we all get so caught up in this silly rat race that society pushes you into. And says, if you have to be successful, you have to be like this, and you have to go and achieve something. And all you end up being is, when you are in a rat race, you truly end up being like a lab rat, where you just run around in circles and you don't get anywhere. So enjoy life, meet your friends, create good relationships, and stick with them.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I was getting a call. Yeah.
All right. So you've been a part of the movie industry for almost 2 decades now. And according to you, what are some of the most prominent changes in filmmaking that you've noticed? It can be in terms of cultural changes, social norms, technology. What are the changes that you have really noticed and found, groundbreaking?
Well, I mean, it's a very good question because when I started working in films, at that time, scripts used to be like, "Arey, it's a triangle, it's a rectangle, it's a triangle meant two girls and one guy, or two guys and one girl. Both the guys were in love with the same girl, or the girls were in love with the same guy, and so it became a triangle. And
Right.
if it was um, uh, two couples, then it was a rectangle or a square. So most of the stories that were being made around were love stories, were very unbelievable. And as I think my generation of actors, directors, um, producers who came through that transitory phase of what the Indian film industry was going through, um, uh, it wasn't easy, because everybody wanted to do something different. It was always deemed as as art cinema, or it's too arty, it's not going to work. So you would never get a budget to do those kind of films, and you would end up, you know, stuck in a level of mediocrity which was extremely, extremely stifling, and you couldn't see much growth happening in there. But I think by the early by I would say actually by um, 2008, 2009, you started seeing people beginning to experiment more, with the story, trying to tell a different story, and audiences beginning to adapt to that and accept it. Because finally, if the audience doesn't change, okay, no matter what you try to make, okay, it's not going to work. And if it doesn't work at the box office, if it doesn't work commercially, you're not going to get many chances. So people try to play it safe. And what I realized through this time, at least in the last decade or so, the audience really changed a lot. They started accepting good cinema. They wanted to know a good story. They started rejecting the run-of-the-mill kind of stuff that was being produced. And people started coming out of their comfort zones and trying to do, meaningful, different kinds of cinema, or play characters which were characters that would challenge them as actors, or filmmakers would try to tell a story which would have a message or a meaning that would resonate with its audience. And they started doing a really good job with that, with keeping obviously our culture, our uh, tastes, our whole way of enjoying entertainment, because you can't just do stuff which is not entertaining, because then we are here to entertain the audiences, and through that entertainment, if you can get your message across, then you have a winner. So I think that is what I saw is a change in the kind of filmmakers that were being made. Before, there were no scripts, as I told you. We didn't even get a script. We were given lines to say while you reach set, or they were written while you were there, and you could participate in that. And now you don't go onto a set without a bound script. That means the pre-prod and the preparation that happens before you get into work has already started. You have a lot of readings, you read with your directors, with your co-actors, you put all your questions you ask at that time, because when you're on set, you are just absolutely crystal clear about what you're going to go there to achieve.
Okay. All right.
Right, sir. So moving towards the technological side, India is like the center for innovation and growth in technology, and even outside, most of the tech giants have CEOs of Indian descent. So do you think that this innovation has been reflected in filmmaking as well, in the sense that why is it so difficult for us to, make something like the Avengers?
So it's difficult for us to make something like the Avengers is because India still does not have a global audience,
Okay.
right? I mean, when you talk about a film like the Avengers, it runs in a China, it runs in an India, it runs in Kazakhstan, it runs in Afghanistan, it will run in Russia, it will run in England, it will run in France, and obviously the whole of the US and all Africa, everywhere. So you are making global cinema. Why? Because of the language, A, because English being the most widely spoken language. Okay. Secondly, because they have those kind of budgets.
Okay.
You know, when you are spending $1 billion on a film, okay, on one film, it's an economy of most smaller countries. You know, we don't have those kind of budgets. Number one. Number two, I don't think we can not do it. We have the stories to tell. I think if you just make the Mahabharata in a really, really amazing manner, okay, using the technology and all of that that Avengers used, or Lord of the Rings used, or whichever film that is technically path breaking has used, you can make a really wonderful story which can become like a global story. So number one is to find a global story to tell. Okay, then you have to cast that story accordingly, because there has to be a certain level of familiarity for people outside your country watching you. So maybe you take in an actor from there, maybe you take a few technicians from there, a few technicians from here, and the amalgamation of it. And I don't think that time is very far away. I think the more I see, shows which are coming on OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Z5, Hotstar. People are pushing the envelope. Okay, those shows can resonate with anybody anywhere. So I think that's encouraging filmmakers to also go down that route and find stories like that, which would have more of a global appeal than just catering to audiences in India. Because the minute you start catering just to audiences in India, you're automatically creating a setback for yourself. Because you're like, yaar, ye Punjab mein bhi chalni chahiye. This should work in Bihar also. This should work in UP also. And this should work in metros as well. And then it should work into our diaspora of audience, which is there in the UK or US, or the overseas audience that goes there, which are primarily NRIs or Indians who've settled there. So, but do the white people go to see it? Does the black community go to see it? Do the French go to see it? Does all those people go to see it? No. So how do we do that? How do we increase our audience base? And I think by making good cinema, by creating really good collaborations with people, I think it is possible, and that's what I think it's going to head towards.
All right. So on a lighter note, most artists have their own process and like small quirks that they use. While
How is that a light note? My process is not a light note.
okay, I'll take that back. So usually artists have specific quirks that they display while preparing for a role. So can you give us a little insight into what you do to prepare for a role?
Well, firstly, when the first time when I read a script, the way I kind of select it is to find, I asked myself one question, that if I was not in this movie, would I be standing in line to buy a ticket to watch this movie?
Okay.
Myself. So why do I want to do this film? That's very, very important. That's a question that I need to answer to myself. Sorry. That's a question I need to definitely answer to myself. Secondly, I need to then say that does this role scare me? So when, for example, when Shah Rukh had offered me Om Shanti Om, okay, I was petrified. I was like, nahi yaar, main nahi kar sakta. Yeah, I can't do this. This guy is horrible. And I don't know how I'm going to play. Have you seen Om Shanti Om?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the character that I play of Mikey Mukesh Mehra, okay, and because he burns this girl, he buries her somewhere, she's pregnant,
Right.
and I was like, what, dude, this guy is a complete jerk, and there is no way I can play this part because how my daughter's gonna see this? Like, I mean, they will hate me. And he said a very interesting thing. He said, do this one for you as an artist, and you will do many more for your kids. Maybe don't show your children this film. And I kind of went with that. But you know what it taught me was that I was so scared. Why I was so scared was because I was so scared of breaking an image which I have created in my own mind, or audiences have created about me, or people create about you. And and that is when you reinvent, actually, when you shatter all those images and those preconceived notions about you. Similarly with Rajniti, when Prakash told me that I have to play this politician who is from UP or MP, and he's hardcore, he's almost like a gunda. uh, at that time I was like, wow, there's Nana there, there's Manoj there, there's Ranbir there. Ranbir and Katrina still, I was like, oh, it's okay because, they come from a similar mindset. But Ajay, Nana, Manoj, all these actors who are all national award winners and huge stalwarts in their own thing, and they're very comfortable with the kind of cinema that Prakash makes, which is extremely real and hard hitting and has a big, strong social message in there. Will we not look like fish out of water? I hope we don't start looking awkward. Again, there was fear there, and what fear is basically a challenge. Whenever you feel scared, you should take it by the horns, because that's a great opportunity. And that's when you can really actually say, okay, fine, if I'm going to take this step, then I need to understand what are the layers of this character. And then you start to prepare for that character. You start going back into saying, okay, fine, I have to be this guy, so I have to live this character for me to look comfortable, to look genuine. Am I going to be able to give those public speeches? So you start practicing that. You start rehearsing that. And any good performance, according to me, is hours and hours of rehearsals.
Okay.
Right, so. So, what about your journey in movies like Ra.One, where you actually learn to play that guitar, and in fact, D-Day also?
That was great because I was getting paid to do what I really wanted to do. So I wanted to always learn to play the guitar, but now I was pressurized by Abhishek Kapoor that I have to know all the chords. I need to know the riff. I need to play the lead, and that guitar has to be an extension of me. That was exactly the language that he used. And but what resonated with me was the life of an artist. A lot of artists, who have a lot of dreams that I'm going to go and do this and the other. A lot of those dreams get shattered along the way, because of you having to, just make a family run, to be a provider to your home, and you kind of put your dreams on the back burner at that point in time. And that was the case with Joe Mascarenas. Also, sometimes you're not that lucky. Sometimes you're a bit too stubborn, and all those really resonated with me at that point in my career as well, because there were a lot of films of mine that hadn't worked at that point in time, and I really wanted to see use that memory of emotion for Joe Mascarenas. And I think that's why that character really resonated with a lot of the audience, where they said, wow, this character, I can totally believe, is very believable, is very real. And that's what I look for in a character. How real can you make it? And definitely one of my favorite characters to play. In D-Day, it was just too much fun, because I had it was very physical. I love physical action, and there was Tom Strutters there. He's the action director who done Dark Knight and all these films. And Nikhil had got him on board, Nikhil Advani. And Nikhil was very hungry because his last two films had not done well. So he really wanted to, and he was going out of his comfort zone of doing romantic films and coming to doing something which was like espionage, all of that. And a kind of fantasy at the same time of going and getting Dawood from Karachi. You had great actors, okay, in Irfan and Rishi, and I think that film will always be very, very special and close to my heart. But it was truly a cakewalk. It was a breeze. I went through it very easily. I had lots of fun shooting it, and using all the guns and unloading, loading without looking as to where the magazine is. Putting that in your muscle memory.
Okay. So one more thing. So Netflix and Amazon Prime have already been rising at a rapid rate. But with the lockdown, obviously this has affected the medium in which films are being viewed. And in fact, you also did a web series last year and you won Best Actor for it as well. So do you think these changes will mean the end for a traditional film industry, like, the theater kind of films?
Well, I don't think we should call it doomsday yet, but yes, we will head towards it if we don't change our ways. I think humans in general need to change their approach towards life. I think the coronavirus is merely a warning to tell you that, listen, one virus can come which is invisible and can stop the whole world in its tracks. So humans are not invincible, and we need to reflect upon the way we lead our lives. We cannot keep taking from nature the way we keep taking. Okay, the rivers are the veins of the earth, of life. We cannot pollute them anymore. Okay, the forests are the lungs of the earth. Okay, which help us to breathe. You are seeing forest fires today, but if these forest fires are going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like the ones you saw in Australia, and once they come into the cities and burn all those cities down, then who's going to rebuild those cities? Nobody. So we need to definitely look at life in a very, very different way, and not just think selfishly the way we've been thinking. In terms of entertainment, I think stories are always there, and good stories are always people always want to see. It's a nice way of escaping and at the same time getting educated about certain issues or topics. So I'm not really worried about the entertainment industry that much, because entertainment will always stay there, because that will definitely be a need. But if the world in, say, 2020 is this, 2030, you need to make sure that the next decade is going to be much better, and conducive. But if there's no food, there is no shelter, there is chaos, then who the hell is going to watch movies? You're going to be looking for food.
Right.
So in order to keep the audience there, I think the fear that one should have, and anybody, and especially you youngsters, because the future will be in your hands, you all need to make sure that you all don't make the same mistakes that my generation and generations before me have made. You have to, and I've seen that. I mean, you all are definitely far more aware. You all are far more compassionate. You all are far more, simple in terms of you are definitely, working towards living a life of sustainability, and looking at life with and products of sustainable, which are sustainable and will last, and not just be used and thrown and create landfill. So if all that can be done, then I think you will have this industry will keep entertaining you, because we are storytellers. There are lots of stories that I'm sure a lot of people have written, which must be really magnificent stories during this lockdown. In fact, I've come across many stories through this lockdown which are so phenomenal, and I can't wait to make them. So there are lots of wonderful stories to be told out there, and I think humans in general need to calm down a bit and use things which are more sustainable and be definitely more aware about what we're doing to the planet.
Right, sir. So in conclusion, what would your message be to the students of our college who are watching this and they aren't doing that well in terms of mental health and physical fitness right now?
Mental health is extremely important. You're seeing more and more people just breaking down. It's
Yes.
sad when you're getting isolated. I'm really sorry that you all are all isolated when you all should be out there really enjoying life. But look at this as truly a gift from something more powerful than all of us, to say that we have to be in a state of gratitude. We have to not take things for granted, you know and be contributors. You all are special. You all have a lot going for you. Okay, you're going to walk into a new world, a new world order people talk about. But I think that new world order is about keeping it real, keeping it simple, calling a fake, and not encouraging people who are taking away your right, which is clean air, okay, fresh water, okay, freedom of speech, and you'll be fine then.
All right.
Right, sir.
It was
Done?
it was really a pleasure talking to you, and we're so happy we
Same
had
here.
this opportunity.
No,
Um,
my pleasure.
Thank you so
Are
much,
you
sir.
all at home, both of you?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
we're
Yeah, lockdown.
here for the past
Yeah.
4 months.
And how has it been treating you all?
It's all right. It's going
It's
all right.
just fine. Like, yeah, we have assignments, we have other work to do, so not that bad till now.
Enjoy your family. I mean, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Stay close to them, enjoy them, look after them. You all are very lucky to have so much time at this stage of your lives to just pause, and then when you play, it's like the movie starting from where it had left off.
Right.
So you're not missing out on anything. This is just a great experience for all of us, a learning experience, and I truly wish all of you all the best.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care.